the forbidden knowledge of how we came to be up on this mountain we call planet Earth. We have this gravitational field. If you were to look down from space, from the center of space right here, and look down on all the planets as they go down the mountain, you'll see that there's a magnetic field that goes down just below Alaska there, or Antarctica, I mean. And you see how it all starts to swerve back together. This is where the bottom of the field ends, so we never actually get a chance to go down the mountain. I discovered this map on, I don't know, some website. I found it to be quite unique with the way the field comes along down here. Quite accurate to the way I believe it is. Now we have the pyramids here. If you didn't know that the Pyramid of Giza happens to be the center of everything, the center of the planet, and it lines up with the stars. This is a star map laid over the pyramids, how identical they line up. I found this on Google Maps over in Egypt. On their ground, it appears to be some kind of symbols or something. Kind of odd. But yeah, the pyramid, you see right here how it shoots directly up to these stars. Now, I don't believe that we put all the stars up in the sky, but I do believe we did put a couple stars up in the sky, like these bright ones. It'd be a good way of making yourself into a god, right? Putting a star up in the sky. Now here's a picture I found of some stars, where I found it odd how they make it appear as if it's a dome type sky. At least the way this is figured. That's really figuring it as a dome. And you see the sun, you got two beams crossing together. Check out my other video about the sun, you'll find more out about that. And then gravity, let me explain. All these historical sites we have all over the place, made out of all these stones. We happen to see in these stones, we happen to see a pattern. Let me show you the pattern that we see everywhere we look. Okay, yeah, we're getting to it. We happen to see these kind of patterns. And these kind of patterns. This is my idea of what we're at. This is the hill, this is the mountain we're on. We're in the bird bath in the middle. Nobody else seems to have this theory. They all seem to argue over it being flat and round and everything else. They don't seem to get to the point of why any of it matters. Other than if this is our magnetic field, our gravitational field holding us down in this mountain, that would explain the ice right here at such an altitude. The sun would obviously heat this other stuff on top of the altitude where everything would have been frozen. And our compasses would make sure that we never ever went outside this circle. Those are just a couple theories I have. But this gravitational thing is kind of indisputable, I think. If we look at how this stuff is set up, if we have a gravitational field pulling us back down, it would explain why it would take so much energy to leave Earth to reach outer space. Why it would be like a funnel type thing pulling us down. But as you see, pay close attention to all these patterns, because we're going to start looking at some historical sites that people seem to have all sorts of theories about, but nobody seemed to have mentioned this theory about them being what causes the gravitational fields around the Earth. Since the Pyramid of Giza, this is an actual picture, and this is the actual heat sensors on it. That instead of thinking that the pyramids of Giza were lined up so perfectly with the stars and being the exact size of the Earth and everything else, I mean, you look into it, you see that there's quite a few coincidences that these pyramids happen to line up with, rather than thinking that the Egyptians just built this completely perfect. One might want to think maybe this is what creates our, what we call Earth circle, prevents us from going out. How would you farm 7 billion humans? They're quite intelligent at times. So I think it'd be quite difficult to just put a fence and get them to stay in. So you'd have to make up some kind of theory like, oh, we're floating in the middle of nowhere, and you can't leave it unless you take a rocket ship. You see how these make sound? Let me see this symbol right here. Doesn't that look like a symbol recognized that has to do with electricity, maybe? Now we get to these patterns. We see these patterns right here. We'll want to focus on this right here. How when you put magnets in a certain direction, it creates an even stronger field on just one side of it. Well, there's a good chance that is the same exact thing that goes on here, along with the other pi and the other thing, the magic numbers. Anyways, they look exactly like these exact designs. The Fibonacci, yeah, that's it. These would be sticking out because once you take a bunch of little fields, they'll all connect together over a big area of space if they're in the right spots. And all these appear to be lined up with the Giza lines. Like if you look on Google Maps, you can see they're directly in a straight line in every direction of the Giza pyramid. And I think it's kind of strange that these are just built this way. These boxes, these exact things that look just like these. Exactly like these. Now this is with the charge with no field on it. And then once you put the magnetic field to it, it lines them all up the same way. Well, since gravity, light, sound, and magnetism are all basically the same thing. Everything falls within the gravity spectrum. Everything is within the gravity spectrum. Gravity is not that strong of a force, but in the hertz, in the area of the hertz that it's on, the frequencies, it covers all the frequencies are within the gravitational frequency. And we see a lot of patterns, a lot of weird places that are all built with the same design. They all have these kind of designs to them. And it's odd that we have 12 kilovolts at like, I think what was 150 meters or something up in the air. Yeah. 390 feet, 120 meters. See that? Yeah. You see here, you got 390, 12 kilovolts up in the sky. Well, that could be a good explanation caused by all these things being built all around the world with the same pattern. As you can see, these rocks are different colors, so they're different minerals. So when you use the pi and Fibonacci and the magic numbers, you see that equation is found in all of these places, which happen to be now historical sites that are preserved and owned by the government and protected from anybody going there and looking on their own time. We see these things. These are sheep. This is what we are. We are sheep up on a mountain. This stands for the platform that we are sitting on top of the design. Because I think it's just odd that all these structures, like, to think that these people went through all this time to cut these rocks out, to lay them in such an odd pattern, which happens to be the same exact pattern as all these down here. I think it's a little more than a coincidence. And what else I got here? Oh yeah, here, let this guy explain. This is them joking about how we are sheep up on a hill and we are an irrigation system for the rich people or whoever down the mountain. Could that maybe explain why it seems like over the last couple of years the Earth's population has increased dramatically?
Now going to be paid by the hectare, you're paid for owning land, like Adrian says that. So, all right, okay, but the one thing you have to do to be paid is the land has to be bare. If there's trees on the land, you don't get paid for it. So basically, you've got a €55 billion incentive for mass habitat clearance across the entire European Union. That's what's going on. It's one of the biggest environmental disasters on Earth at the moment. No one's talking about it. There's hundreds of thousands of hectares of land being cleared solely to meet the criteria for the subsidies. Easiest way of clearing the land is put sheep in it. They keep it clear, they mow it. An automated system for environmental destruction.
They mow it.
So,
he thinks that's funny.
Off, and yeah, they'll be changing it. To begin with, you'll see bracken and thistles and stuff come in, and that'll last for a few years, and then the trees start to come in among them. Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I don't actually want to see the end of farm subsidies. I want to see those subsidies redeployed to environmental goods, and that means bringing back wild, beautiful, amazing places and stopping floods downstream.
Floods downstream.
Loads of work required for that, loads of work. And the farmers actually could do better at it. If you paid them the same amount of money for environmental restoration as they're currently being paid for sheep keeping, because the environmental restoration is that much cheaper, they'd be taking home a lot more, keeping a lot more of that money than they would otherwise be doing. Chasing sheep across rain-sodden hills costs the average Welsh farmer £20,000 a year. What's not to like?
I'm sorry, I've got
Did you not hear me when I said that our lamb covering an area the same as all our arable and horticultural crops provides 0.4% of our diet? And that, when you take into account the hydrological damage you're doing to farming downstream in far more productive places through the cycle of flood and drought you get from keeping the hills bare, its net contribution to human nutrition is probably negative.
Okay, thank you for the question. Adrian, vanity. Why draw the line at humans?
Why not eat humans? Why not eat humans?
I mean, isn't there a vanity in saying we are the exception, but we can eat everything else?
Why aren't we eating each other?
You tell me if anyone's going to
One of the most interesting collapses of civilizations, the two were in America.
southern states of North America and the Maya in Central America. Both collapsed because they didn't have an ungulate. They were societies that did marginal farming, mostly of corn and squashes, but they didn't have any shit. The point of keeping animals is actually the stuff you really don't like. It's the shit. And it's the shit that keeps everything growing. It's the shit you need to grow the rice, to grow the wheat, and they didn't have it. And the society ended up living in these amazing meat.
Guys.
Right, Wales without sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be the reason why they are keeping us up on the hill or the mountain, because we are some kind of irrigation system. Something like this, you see this here? They always thought that these are for holding the blocks together. Well, if this was a certain kind of mineral and it was putting out some kind of magnetic field, right here we would have a big flux in it. It would mess everything up. It wouldn't be one field. But if you put a piece of metal in between those two, that would turn that into one solid field. I think that's a little more reasonable explanation. These H's that we see everywhere aren't actually H's. These are actually U's. The reason they were designed like this is so that they would fit together perfectly and form one field. That's why they're cut out the way they are. What else we got? Yeah, basically, if right here's the Giza pyramid, and this is, and all these other places are the historical, whatever, monuments, buildings, whatever, that are all over the place, and they're all connecting together. They would prevent our compass from ever letting us go outside this hill, or outside this circle. Which, if we think about that, and we think back to when they thought the earth was flat and you could go over the edge, well, what if that story isn't as crazy as it sounds? If you think logically, if we were on a mountain and there was a river, a waterfall going over the edge, you would fear of going off the edge of the world, at least in your primitive mind. Could be a good reason why they thought that back then. And then here's a black hole. Here, I'll let this guy explain it. This is an actual picture of the very first black hole we just discovered, I think, this year. Well, this guy has been saying that this black hole is the magnetic field. And if this is true, this black holes aren't actually black holes. They're actually Earths. Well, something with a magnetic field around it, because right in the center, here, I'll just let this guy explain it.
Okay, now I just solved the black hole theory. Black hole is a magnetic field around a planet. Here's a vortex to show you exactly that. It looks identical to the first picture of a black hole just released in 2019.
I don't know if I should say I told you so, but I'm going to say it anyway. I told you so. I think about 10 to 12 videos on black holes, and of course what they are is incredibly simplex. They are, of course, a supermass that has no magnitude. The reason why they have no magnitude, we have no parallel for this in our world, is that the dielectric has overthrown magnetism's ability to keep the mass within the
He was right.
Toroidal, and it will be bright around the periphery and dark in the center, exactly like a supercell, because there's only two conjugate principles in the universe, magnetism and dielectricity. This, of course, is the plane of inertia, and the center, right here, where it's black. Yeah?
Common sense,
Very
right?
simple.
Okay, now
So yeah, that explains pretty much everything, huh? Now I think we better start asking questions. Or going down the mountain and seeing what's down there. Why they wanted to keep us up here? Are they humans that are down there? Or are they some cyclops? Yeah, I'll show you guys another interesting thing I found. Over in Egypt on their pictures. Now this is the creation of life, or at least the creation of humans. We see this picture here. Well, what is this on this stick right here? What is he attempting? What is this bird attempting to feed this human? Two little bugs? Have you heard of mind-controlling parasites? Is this how they keep the people dumbed down? Or the thing that gives the body, the thing that was made from the dust, its life? Is that what breathed into them? I don't know. Kind of strange. Clearly he's about to feed these to him. Nobody else seems to have these theories, but I can't help but only see this. Check this out. Oh, the next one. Right where we're at the phase 7. Talking about the hydrogen nuclear bomb. Unleashed, Illuminati bomb. Vanishes anti-civilization. With Zon power. Right there, MC2 equals E. Are we just an experiment? I don't know. Is Planet X coming? I don't know. Does Egypt have some weird things on their land? I don't know. Seems like a SIM card. Strange stuff. Looks like the moon. Strange stuff. Looks like the sun. Strange stuff. They got some weird things that they claim to be growing food under. I don't know. I think we better go check it out over there. Like the video, share it. Come up with some new theories. Prove these theories wrong. Yeah. Hope you enjoy it.